The usual suspects, people like Senator Mitt Romney, are all weighing in on some new tax proposals from Democrats. Now, the budget reconciliation bill will not include a corporate tax hike. At first, Biden claimed that he wanted to increase the corporate tax rate from 21% to 28%. Then there was some talk of going down to 25%. Doesn't even matter because you have corporate Democrats like Kyrsten Sinema who said, under no circumstances will I sign on to raising corporate taxes. So now you have Democratic lawmakers scrambling to find some replacements in order to raise revenue necessary to pay for the budget reconciliation bill. Now, before I give you the details, I just want to note, all theater. There are some progressive journalists who I love and I support, and they are unfortunately naive enough to think that this is more than just theater. I hope I'm wrong and they're right, but with that said, the activism against it has already begun. Let's start with Mitt Romney.
You're going to tax people not when they sell something, but just when they own it and the value goes up. And what that means is that people are, these multi-billionaires, are going to look and say, I don't want to invest in the stock market because as that goes up, I'm going to get taxed. So maybe I will instead invest in a ranch or in paintings or things that don't build jobs and create a stronger economy.
So what is Romney talking about there? Well, the Democrats are now considering taxing billionaires on unrealized capital income. That means billionaires who have most of their money parked in stocks, but they don't sell those stocks, right? So they're earning money on those stocks, but in order to get taxed on it, you'd have to sell the stocks. What they do is they keep them in the stock market, they don't sell, which means it's unrealized gains, and instead they just take out loans and live off of those loans and use those stocks as collateral to qualify for the loans, okay? So what Democrats are proposing here is they would institute a minimum tax on profits that are made through these unrealized capital income. And it's not gonna happen, it's just not gonna happen, I don't believe it.
Yeah, okay, so look, let me try to explain it real quick in case you guys are unfamiliar with the technical terms. So let's say you made $1 million in the stock market. Right now you don't have to pay any tax on it because you didn't sell yet. If you sell the stock, then you got to pay your taxes because then you made the money or you realized the gains, right? But if you don't sell, it's unrealized gains. Now you still made the $1 million, but you don't have to pay taxes on it. If you never sell, you never pay taxes. And if you borrow on off of that money, well, then you never have to sell. So that's the loophole that was created. Okay, fine. You could find a way around that, and et cetera. And this is one way to prevent that. I share Anna's skepticism 1,000,000%. There's no way they're going to pass this, and we hope to God we're wrong. And if they do pass this, by the way, we'll give them credit and go, whoa, you'll see, we didn't expect that. You see that we're not expecting it right now. Well, I think Mitt Romney will win easily. He will tell his Democratic colleagues, no, the corporations and the wealthy have ruled. Shut up and take it away, and they will. That's our guess, and you'll see how it plays out.
I don't even know what they're wasting their time. Like, who are they fooling? Like, that's the thing that's frustrating about Democrats. It's not about, oh, maybe if I just mess around with the proposal a little bit, then I can get corporations to sign on, I can get billionaire donors to sign on. They don't want increases in their taxes. So it's one thing to propose these things, it's something entirely different to actually fight for these things. The Democratic Party is unwilling and unable to actually fight to get these types of provisions passed. End of story. There have been no sticks used against Manchin or Sinema or Senator, any senator who's been speaking out against popular provisions in the budget reconciliation bill. If they're not willing to use the carrots, why are we wasting our time right now? By the way, other things they want to do is institute a minimum tax on profits large corporations tout to their shareholders. They also want to apply a 3.8% net investment tax from the Affordable Care Act to partnerships and S corporations. Technical stuff, again, I care about these things, very skeptical about it passing. But you also have Republican senators like Mitch McConnell who have already spoken out against it. So let's hear what he has to say.
So they want to tax gains they haven't realized and hand out tax breaks for losses people haven't realized. This harebrained scheme would have the IRS penalizing people who've invested wisely and compensating people who've invested poorly, all independent of whether they have actually made or lost any money. The fact that some experts suggest this new scheme would drive the wealthiest Americans away from stocks and bonds, push them into other tax shelters.
So, look, of course, Mitch McConnell's against it. And this wouldn't be applied to everyone. This would be applied to people who are billionaires, $1 billion or more. At first, they wanted to propose 100 million or more to really increase the revenue that would be gained through these tax increases. But of course, they came out of the gate with, let's increase the threshold so less people qualify for these tax hikes.
Okay, so TPM is reporting right now that Kristen Sinema has signed on to the corporate minimum tax. So this is not to raise taxes on corporations, but if they're skirting taxes entirely, this makes them pay a minimum tax. Okay.
Of 15%.
Of 15%. By the way, it's comically low, okay? So you could say, well, it's comically low, so they might actually agree to it. No, okay, my prediction is, it doesn't matter, they're just gonna rotate the villain. And that's what they're doing right now on the other provisions. So Sinema had said about any other tax increases before, no way on my beloved corporations and the beloved rich. And then Manchin takes Medicare drug prices, no on that. And Manchin claims, oh, I'm okay with the tax increases. And Sinema claims, I'm okay with the other thing, but golly gee, what could we do? Manchin and Sinema together are not okay with with any of these provisions. And in this case, even if they have Manchin and Sinema, here, I'll predict ahead of time for you guys. A new Democrat will pop up as the new villain. It could be Menendez from New Jersey, Coons from Delaware. By the way, if it's one of the Delaware senators, that means it's actually Joe Biden who's killing it, okay? And so all of that is not just possible, it is likely. So if you're getting encouraged right now about, oh my God, they might be able to pay for it and they're gonna raise taxes on billionaires and corporations, and Sinema and Manchin have agreed, I would be shocked if that's what happened at the end.
And again, guys, I wanna just emphasize this. This is predictable, not because we're making a judgment on their character, although you could do that, but that's irrelevant. It's about incentives and disincentives. And so far, what we've seen from corporate Democrats is that they don't care what constituents want. They don't care what's good for the country. They take orders from their corporate donors. If they're corporate donors, and by the way, not even corporate donors, like there's corporate donors and then there's their millionaire and billionaire donors. Those are the people they take the advice from, they take orders from, and they carry out their desires. Incentives and disincentives. So if they listen to those donors all the way through to today, what makes you think that they're just gonna randomly ignore what their donors, you think their donors want these tax increases? No, of course they don't want it. So that's why I'm saying, and that's why we're predicting that these tax provisions will go nowhere, but who knows, we might be wrong.
Yeah, and so look, we're all the way out on the limb because literally no one else in the media agrees with us. So now, and we're being honest about that. Now you're gonna get to have some fun. You're gonna see who's more right, TYT or the rest of the entire media combined. Now, and if we're right, okay, we're telling you ahead of time why. It means there is no debate in Congress at all. There's no ideology, there's no politics, it's all theater. They do exactly what the donors say. And if you don't get the money out first, you'll never pass any legislation that actually is anywhere near progressive. So you're wasting your time with all of this stuff, with all this theatrics, if you don't first get the money out of politics. Now let's see who's right and let's see who's wrong. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.